Top 10 Craziest Sea Creatures Recently Discovered. From a newly identified glowing shark to a living sea dragon found in Mexico, here are 10 of the craziest sea creatures ever found. 10. Glowing shark. A new species of insane sea creature was just found deep beneath the surface of the ocean off the coast of New Zealand. The new species is called the kitefin shark, and believe it or not, it literally glows in the dark. It's one of 3 species of glowing sharks that scientists currently know about prowling through the oceans. The shark can grow to an amazing length of about 6 feet. This obviously isn't as big as a tiger shark or a great white, but it's still bigger than me, and neither of those sharks can glow fluorescent blue. According to the Smithsonian, the fish was hauled up during a survey in one of the deepest parts of New Zealand's east coast. The shark resides in the twilight zone of the ocean, between 660 and 3,300 feet deep. But why is the shark luminescent? As you may already know, bioluminescence is a pretty common feature among fish in the deep dark ocean, as well as squids and other creatures. Most cases of bioluminescence involve a special chemical compound which glows when interacting with oxygen. However, the shark produces its blue light in a slightly different way. Researchers just aren't exactly sure how or even why, but they speculate the blue glowing light from the shark's belly makes it invisible to prey swimming beneath in the darkness of the deep sea. It also uses its glowing belly to illuminate prey beneath it for easy hunting. Weirdly, the shark's fin even glows in the dark. Scientists can't figure out why that happens either. 9. Icelandic river monster. A video of a strange river monster recently surfaced showing a long, snake-like creature slithering through a glacial river in the country of Iceland. According to locals, the video is proof of a horrifying legendary sea monster called Lagarfljót or Lagarfljótsyrm, said to be a serpentine creature that lurks around lakes and rivers, sometimes in the water, coiled up on shore. However, not everyone is convinced. Some people have suggested the creature in the video is nothing but a hoax, while others speculate it could just be some kind of ordinary river animal. In the footage, the thing seems to be slithering upstream. It also appears to be over 10 feet in length and huge. This is just one of many reports of the monster. The first sighting of the mysterious Icelandic beast was back in 1345. It was documented in the 15th century, and it was even drawn on world maps from the 16th century. There were additional sightings in the 1700s and many in the 1900s. The most recent was 2012. Local legend says the beast is actually a type of worm or slug that has been growing bigger and bigger as the centuries go by. Some reports place it as being longer than a bus, with many humps on its back. Some say it only lives in freshwater lakes, and others claim to have spotted it in the coastal waters of Iceland. You never know where the giant worm will show up. Nobody knows if the monster in the video was the deadly slug from legend, since it vanished and was never seen again. 8. Mysterious regenerating slug. A mysterious regenerating slug monster has just been found and has scientists pretty excited. According to Scientific American, it was researchers in Japan who made the shocking discovery. They actually found 2 separate species of sea slug, both with the ability to chop their heads off and then regrow their bodies from the neck down. It would be like if you could remove your head and then grow a brand new body while throwing the old one in the trash. Even more amazing is that the regeneration only takes about 2 weeks to complete. You're probably thinking, sure, but there are lots of animals that practice regeneration in the world. What makes the slug so special? Most animals that can regrow pieces of themselves are restricted to regrowing things like legs or tails. These slugs take it to the next level by regrowing their whole body. It's a feat unsurpassed by any other living animal. According to researcher Sayaka Mito, these ocean slugs represent the most extreme form of regeneration anywhere in nature. And here's where things get really crazy. The Japanese scientists noticed that the slugs sometimes decapitate themselves on purpose. The severed head can then survive for several weeks by using a special type of photosynthesis to give itself nourishment. The decapitated body also goes on living for several days and up to a few months. Scientists are still trying to figure out how exactly the regeneration happens and why the slugs chop off their own heads instead of sacrificing a smaller part. Seems a bit overkill, don't you think? 7. Heatwave jellyfish. During the insane heat wave of 2021, some pretty creepy sea creatures have been getting washed up on beaches in the United Kingdom. Locals were shocked to discover dead jellyfish up to 6 feet in length stranded on their sandy shores. But locals weren't nearly as disturbed as the scientists, who couldn't believe how barrel jellyfish, animals that inhabit warm coastal waters from very far away, ended up in the UK in the middle of June. The jellyfish are so out of place here that people were mistaking them for octopuses or even aliens. These are some of the biggest jellyfish to ever wash up in Britain. Each jellyfish can weigh up to 77 pounds, which is heavier than most people's dogs. They aren't considered harmful to humans, though they can sting, which causes mild irritation, but not death or paralysis like other jellyfish. They typically eat plankton, which is probably why they ended up washing ashore. Plankton in shallow waters are easy pickings, and the jellyfish sometimes don't realize how big they are and they end up beached. But why were so many washing up during the heat wave? Could they have been getting cooked right out of the ocean? The truth is the scientists don't quite know, but it is a major sign that things in the ocean are shifting. All they said to the public was to keep an eye open for the jellyfish when visiting the beach and not to touch them, as they can still sting and cause irritation when they're dead. 6. The Deadliest Washed-Up Creatures. Hundreds of very deadly sea creatures recently washed up on Muizenberg Beach in Cape Town, South Africa. These fish are deadlier than cyanide and can kill. They were first discovered by Dr. Tess Gridley from the UK while walking with her family along the beach. She saw hundreds of them scattered across the sand, dead but still dangerous, filled with a horrible neurotoxin that can paralyze and cause respiratory failure if ingested. Locals were actually advised to stay away from the beach because of the deadly creatures, which often cause death by cardiac arrest. This was an especially dangerous situation for dogs and other pets, who might have accidentally tried to munch on one of the animals. The creatures were identified by South Africa's Department of Environment as evil eye pufferfish. These are the famous deadly pufferfish that you can eat in Japan, but only if prepared by a chef who knows what they're doing. If you eat a pufferfish that's been prepared improperly, you could accidentally eat the neurotoxin and die within minutes. There were about 800 dead pufferfish per mile of shore. In other words, there was a massive die-off of pufferfish. Hordes and hordes of them washed ashore, and scientists were clueless as to why. They don't know what happened. If there was some kind of terrifying underwater event that killed them all, or if they simply ended up on the beach thanks to a freak wave. 5. Faceless beast. A mysterious sea creature estimated to be over 23 feet long was found rotting on a beach in the country of Wales. The sea monster had no recognizable face. It weighed probably around 4 tons, and nobody has been able to identify it. Pictures of this strange creature were put online by a local organization known as Marine Environmental Monitoring. They received a call from a worried local who first discovered what they described as a large blob on the beach. At first, experts thought they were dealing with a whale, but once they arrived on the scene, they didn't know what it was. One of them suggested it could be a basking shark, but there was no way to prove it. The creature had already decomposed so much that it was basically a huge pile of sloppy, smelly mush, weird bones, and what looked like giant teeth. 4. Wandering meatloaf. There is something very bizarre living in the ocean that scientists call a wandering meatloaf. This is because it looks like a large meatloaf slowly wandering across the ocean floor. It's actually a type of mollusk that belongs to the same family as snails and clams. It's a weird beast with a hard shell and, according to new research, teeth that contain an extremely rare form of iron. Scientists from Northwestern University found the mineral Santaber barite within the teeth of the wandering meatloaf. The leader of the study, Dirk Joster, told USA Today that it was a complete accident they made the discovery at all. Here's what it entails. The teeth of the mollusk, known scientifically as a chitin, are about 3 times harder than the teeth in our mouths. This is pretty shocking considering human teeth are some of the hardest things in nature. Yet the teeth of the wandering meatloaf are even stronger. Each tooth is attached to a flexible radula, kind of like a tang, which scrapes over dirt, rocks, and other hard surfaces to collect algae. During this process, the mineral Santaber barite somehow becomes part of the animal's teeth. Because the mineral is strong and low in density, it toughens and strengthens the teeth to such a point that the wandering meatloaf can physically bite through rocks. This is the only biological animal in which scientists have ever found this rare mineral. Previously, it's only been found in minuscule amounts in geological specimens, meaning rocks. Chitins are now considered to be the animal with the strongest teeth in the world, even though it's only a small marine creature. It uses its teeth to keep feeding on algae, busting up rocks like a beaver chews through trees. 3. Dog-killing sea monster. A weird sea creature described as an alien monster was recently found stuck in the sand on an Australian beach. Apparently, the creature is a killer of dogs. This all went down at Leighton Beach near the small Australian city of Fremantle. The person who found it uploaded photos on the internet and asked for help in identifying it. This thing looked like something from another planet, so the beachgoer was curious to know if he had found a new sea animal or a new species of extraterrestrial, maybe some kind of weird yellow goo monster. After uploading the picture, it became clear he was dealing with a real animal. People were quick to point out that the creature was a nefarious killer of dogs. It's called a sea hare, and it kind of looks like a pile of vomit but is actually a gastropod mollusk. It has a special type of purple ink which it can squirt into a dog's mouth to kill it. Whenever the sea hare becomes scared, it squirts the liquid as a defense mechanism. And even if it's dead, if you are walking your dog and it goes to inspect or grab it, it could cause serious damage. According to Culum Brown from the Department of Biological Science, this goo is considered toxic because of the type of algae the animal eats. Thankfully, the dangerous sea hare quickly washed back into the ocean and was gone before any dogs could be harmed. 2. Carnivorous sponges. Scientists have just discovered 3 very strange carnivorous creatures living in the deep ocean. At first, these monstrosities probably aren't going to scare you. They are known as sea sponges, and they aren't that intimidating. However, they could be scarier than you expected. Sea sponges are multicellular filter feeders, meaning their skin can filter flowing water and extract oxygen and food from it. At least, most sea sponges operate like that. They're very simple creatures without nerves or digestion or even a circulatory system. They've also been around for the past 500 million years. Carnivorous sea sponges are a bit different. The new ones found by scientists have lost their ability to filter flowing water. Instead, they now feast on tiny crustaceans by using their long, flimsy, tentacle-like limbs. These limbs have tiny hooks on the ends that they use to skewer unsuspecting prey. There's one reason why these creatures are so terrifying. It's all about evolution. The shift from filter feeding to being a voracious carnivore with tentacles and hooks is shocking. It's so shocking that scientists aren't even sure how it happened. The creatures were found living at a depth of around 9,000 feet, meaning they aren't that easy to study. But if they evolved from being peaceful plant eaters to hungry savages, there's no telling what they might turn into next after another 500 million years. 1. Living dragon. A couple of fishermen discovered a rare living dragon belched out of the ocean. It happened in Mexico while Noah and Jacob Thompson were on their way to do a bit of fly fishing. Before they reached the fishing spot, they came across the unbelievable. There was a shimmering sea dragon stranded in the sand just beyond the lapping tide. It was majestic, to say the least. The dragon serpent was around 9 feet long and just a baby. Of course, it wasn't a legendary dragon. It was actually an oarfish, something often described as a dragon of the sea. Not much is known about the mysterious oarfish, other than that they live over 3,000 feet deep in the ocean and grow to be between 50 and 60 feet long. They rarely wash up on the shore. This was a weird case because the oarfish was still alive. Realizing this, the brothers acted quickly to save their lives. They picked the oarfish up gently and put it back into the water, then watched as it slithered back towards the open ocean. Hopefully, it wasn't too traumatized and made it back to the deep okay. But usually, if it's washed up on shore, it's not a great sign. But hopefully saving the life of an oarfish is like saving a leprechaun. You're bound to have good luck in the future. Thanks for watching. What's your favorite sea monster? Let me know in the comments. Be sure to hit the subscribe button for more incredible videos.